Woodward provides a variety of hydraulically actuated valves that include a hydraulic manifold that has a PM kit application requirement at every combustion, hot gas path, and major overhaul for reliability and safety. A service bulletin is available for you to identify which PM kit and where to acquire those from. First, you'll need to identify your part number and serial number on your product that is located on the product label, normally associated with the hydraulic manifold. You will find these at different locations on each one of the different products. Once you've identified those particular part numbers and serial numbers, then you will need to go to the Woodward website and look up the PM kit part number through the support function on woodward.com's web. As you look at the valve and actuator service lookup, you will put in your part number and serial number, and a report will come out to you with a PM kit part number identified that you will need to acquire. In addition, you will find other information, including when the unit was originally built, when was it last serviced, and if there is a replacement valve that at the next overhaul you will need to upgrade to. Inside the PM kit that is shipped from Woodward, you will find a servo, a filter, a trip valve, and O-rings. In addition to the PM kit, you will be required to utilize tools for valve removal and torquing the screws necessary to reinstall items onto the manifold. Safety warnings are encouraged and to be observed before performing these services. Let's start with the filter assembly removal. On the hydraulic manifold, the filter bowl is below. Utilizing a 11/16 inch wrench, loosen the filter plug. Next, using a 1 5/16 inch crowfoot wrench, loosen the bowl from the filter assembly base. Utilizing a ratchet, remove the 4 head cap screws. Set these aside for the availability for reinstalling the filter assembly in the future. Unscrew the bowl from the filter base to gain access to the filter element. Remove the plug from the bottom of the bowl. Once removed, remove the O-ring from the plug. A replacement O-ring is in the PM kit. Remove the O-rings from the filter base mount. Replacement O-rings are in the PM kit. Next, remove the filter from the base mount. Utilizing a pick, remove the base mount O-ring and backup ring that are located down in the slot at the lower level of the base mount. Replacement O-rings and backup rings are in the PM kit. Clean the housing thoroughly before reassembling. To reinstall the filter assembly, the parts from the PM kit, including the O-rings and the backup ring, are available to reinstall. As before, install the O-ring first, then the backup ring on top, as noted in the picture. Ensure that both O-ring and backup ring are secure in the slot identified. Next, install the filter element. Place new O-rings on the bowl plug and install on the filter base mount. Install the bowl onto the filter base mount. Remember to hand tighten only. Install the O-rings into the base mount before installing it back to the hydraulic manifold. Clean surfaces of both filter base mount and hydraulic manifold to ensure clean connection. Install the 4 cap screws originally removed to the base mount, through the base mount to the hydraulic manifold. Torque the cap screws to 244 to 256 pound-inch. Check the bowl and bowl plug are tight. Next, let's move to the trip valve replacement. The trip valve is located on the side of the hydraulic manifold and on some situations on top of it. Using a 1.5-inch wrench, loosen the trip relay valve from the hydraulic manifold. The new trip valve that is included in the PM kit already has O-rings on it. Verify that all O-rings are present on the new cartridge, lubricate the O-rings with hydraulic fluid or petroleum jelly, and install into the hydraulic manifold. Tighten and then torque to 80 to 90 foot-pound. Next, let's replace the servo valve. The servo valve is on top of the hydraulic manifold connected to the J-box through a conduit. Loosen the J-box screws to gain access for disconnecting servo valve wires. Inside the J-box, you will identify 2 zip ties that are holding the servo valve wires to the back and together. Cut and loosen. Next, disconnect the servo valve wires from the terminal block. Next, using an 11/16" wrench, loosen and remove the conduit from the J-box as well as the servo valve. Unthread the wire out of the conduit and set aside the conduit. Remove the 4 head cap screws that hold the servo valve to the hydraulic manifold. Set the screws to the side to be reused in installing the new servo valve from the PM kit. It is always wise to keep the area of work clean as you remove the old servo from the manifold. Remove the servo orifice plate and O-rings from the manifold, if applicable to the application. New O-rings are available in the PM kit to replace these. Install new O-rings from the PM kit into the orifice plate and reinstall the orifice plate, aligning holes to the manifold. The new servo that is shipped with the PM kit has a protective plate on the bottom. You must remove this protective plate and throw away the screws and the nuts that hold that protective plate onto the new servo. Remove the O-rings shipped with the new servo and replace with the O-rings that were provided in the PM kit. Make sure the work surface is clean and install the servo back onto the hydraulic manifold using the original screws holding the original servo onto the manifold. Tighten screws down. Then torque the screws to 55 to 57 pound-inch. Next, loosen and remove the nut at the end of the servo valve. Unwind the servo valve wiring, then fully remove the servo net from the servo wire. Afterwards, thread the servo wire through the conduit and reconnect the conduit to the servo valve and the J-box. Cut excess servo wire to appropriate length, then wind up excess wire and zip tie together. Next, connect the servo valve wires to the terminal block. Finally, use a zip tie to tether the servo wires to the J-box on the back. Close the J-box and tighten the screws. Follow normal startup process to re-energize the valve. Inspect for hydraulic leaks around filter housing, trip valve, and the servo valve mounting to the manifold. This would be the completion of installation of the PM kit.